What's up, everyone? This is your DJ Brian Jew, and you're listening to The Driving on TBS efm. Tuesday is here, and it's a great Tuesday. You know why? Because you don't have to worry about the Monday blues, and especially yesterday, the weather here in Korea was funky-dunky. Yes, it was. It snowed, then rained, then snowed again, and I'm just not into that. Because once Christmas is over, I don't really like the snow anymore, especially when you're a driver in a city. You do not like to drive in slushy, wet, nasty, icy roads. First of all, it's unsafe. Second of all, it just looks dirty. And me being kind of a neat freak, I don't like dirty stuff. Anyways, today's a great day because we get to learn about Korean films today, because Tuesdays are K-Film Tuesdays. And you know who's going to talk about that today? Is Jason B. Jason Beshaface will be in the studio with us after intermission to talk about all the Korean films. And it's good for all of our overseas listeners because, you know, they learn more about the film scene in Korea. And it makes our show very international. And I'd like to thank all the people abroad who take the time to listen to our show. So thank you very much. And speaking of international, we'll start today's show with a song from a film that takes place in India. And the film came out in 2008, directed by Danny Boyle, who also directed the opening ceremony of the 2012 London Olympics. Here's J-Ho by Sukhvinder Singh, Tanvi Shah, Ma Lakshmi Iyer, and Vilay Prakash from the Slumdog Millionaire original soundtrack. Check it out. Welcome back to The Drive-In. I'm your host, Brian Jew, for the next hour. So I want to let you guys know how to get in contact with us. You can call the studio at 02-778-1013 or send us a text at sharp 1013 for a charge of 51 to your smartphones, or send us an email at efmdrivein@gmail.com, or simply tweet us away at efmdrivein. And make sure the requests that you do send in are from a film or TV show, or just give us a shout out. That really means a lot to us here, to know what you feel like, your opinion on our program, what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. If you're having a bad day, whatever it is, we're here to listen. And with that said, now it's time for the scene of the day. Alrighty, y'all. Today's scene comes from the number one film in the list of top 250 films ever made from the website IMDb. And it's from the 1994 film Shawshank Redemption, one of my favorite films as well. And this film stars Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, and Robbins is Andy Dufresne, a banker who was framed for killing his adulterous wife. And he didn't really do it. If you watch this film, you know what I'm talking about. That's not the verdict. I don't know if that's mentioned. I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but you know what I'm talking about. Go watch it. And in prison, he meets Red, played by Freeman. And every 10 years, Red has a parole hearing, and each time he has the same story. Yes, I've reformed. I'm ready to join society, but his parole keeps getting rejected time and time again. And after living 40 years in the slammer, Red has become institutionalized, meaning he now considers prison his home. Yes. And if you were ever let out of prison, or if he was let out of prison, he doesn't know how he would survive in the normal world because he's been in jail for so long. Could you imagine that? You're stuck in one lifetime, one way of living your life for that long. How would you change it all of a sudden? You know, just used to it. So, this next part we're going to let you hear is the parole hearing, and he decides to tell the truth. Let's see what happens.
I don't give
a hoot. Yes. So in that scene, Red tells the truth, and he's ironically released from prison, and he made parole. Yes. And I think this film really shows how some people think about prison, and they think that it doesn't actually rehabilitate people. It just saps them out of their life, you know? And when they're released, there's no way they would be able to function in society because they're so used to living in prison for so long that regular society to them is too new, too different, too weird, too strange. And well, it seems to be the case for Red as well here once he's out. And I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie because if I ruin the movie, I'd be like Mike Jones, you know, because he's known for ruining movies for you guys. I'm just joking. Sorry, Mike, I know you're listening. Anyways, if you want to see this movie, I recommend that you go out and rent it. It's such a great movie. So let's hear a song from the film. Here's Hank Williams with Lovesick Blues from the Shawshank Redemption original soundtrack. That was from the soundtrack, and it was an amazing song. Hank Williams, thank you for writing a great song. Lovesick Blues from the Shawshank Redemption original soundtrack. And coming up on today's show, it's Tuesday, which means Jason Beshaface will be joining me to talk about Korean films. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be after intermission. It's a great Tuesday. But before we do that, we have a song request. And the next song request comes from Nikki for the 1998 film Ever After, starring none other than Drew Barrymore. And this film takes place in the late 18th century and attempts to tell the real story of Cinderella, suggesting that the fairy tale we all know and love is based on a real story. I wonder if all the fairy tales that we know of growing up, hearing from our friends and family and teachers in school, are based on a real story. They could be. Was there a real Snow White? Was there a real Aladdin? How about a real Ariel? How do we know there's no women in the sea with, fishtails and all that stuff? I mean, if you think about it, it could be true. There's some possibilities. Anyways, I want to go into the next song request. And the song is The Mummers Dance by Lorena McKinnon from the Ever After original soundtrack. That was Lorena McKinnon with The Mummers Dance from the Ever After original soundtrack. Thank you, Nikki, for that request. And right now, I'm going to play the last song for the first half of our show. And this is requested by 7688. And this is Iggy Pop with The Passenger from the 1996 film Trainspotting. And I'll see you guys shortly with Jason BBB. Welcome back to the Drive-In, and right now it's time for K-Film Tuesday. And right now I have Mr. Jason BBB in the studio with me. What's up, Jason?
I'm great. Where'd you get that Jason BBB from?
I just want to change things up. I don't want to do the same thing every day. Earlier I was talking about the Shawshank Redemption movie.
Okay.
In our scene of the day. And, the guy was in prison for 40 years. And that's all he knows. So I don't want to live that life. Kind of feels like prison in here in this little booth, So I'm going to change it up every once in a while.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yes.
Shawshank Redemption is a classic. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
It is a great film. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on regular DVD.
I need to get on Blu-ray. I've only got it on DVD. Yeah, it's a stupendous
you need to
film.
Pick up your game with the Blu-ray.
I know. I'm slowly I got the Batman trilogy for Christmas, so I was really chuffed with that. And I recently bought the Star Wars films all on Blu-ray.
Isn't it amazing though that Blu-ray makes that much of a difference in digital quality?
Absolutely. And also you need a really, really good sound system to put it through.
Is true.
Because it's not just a visual aspect, it's a sound as well. And if you don't have a good sound system, you can't make best use out of the Blu-ray.
Yeah. My friends love watching movies at my house because I have a great, amazing sound system.
Oh, here we go. We got
I'm just saying,
100-inch TV or something.
No, I don't think they even... 100-inch TV would be the size of this glass in front of us. That's huge.
I have seen TVs that big though.
I have too, but mine's a little bit smaller. Yeah, I don't want to say what size, and people are like, "That's big, Brian," but it's not. It's a good size.
You got a good sound system there.
I have a decent one. I've had the same one for 7 years.
Okay,
but I still like it. I don't need a $1 billion sound system, so.
Well, with a decent sound system, you don't need to change it that often because you normally spend a lot of money and it'll last several years, like you say.
It sounds great right now too in my house. So, with that said,
without further ado, let's turn now to Korean cinema.
Yes.
The movie I'm talking about today is a real classic, really. Castaway on the Moon, or Kimchi Pyoryugi. This was made back in 2009. This is a real treasure. I actually watched this the first time a few months ago, and I heard a lot of people told me this film is worth seeing. And I bought it on DVD, and even though I was expecting it to be good, it actually surpassed my expectations. It's a really, really good film. It's directed by Lee Hae-jun, who directed a movie called Like a Virgin back in 2006. And it stars one of Korea's big names, Jung Jae-young, who was recently in Confession of Murder, Nega Sanin Bomida, which was quite successful in the box office. He was also in films Countdown, Glove, Moss, Righteous Ties. So he's a familiar name, and he's a very talented actor. Also stars Jung Ryo-won, Park Young-sha, and Gu Gyo-han. In terms of the story, a man named Kim, he jumps into the dark, quiet waters of the Han River. Now he wakes up and finds himself lying on a strange ground covered with sand. For a second, he thinks he's in heaven, but soon recognizes that he's simply drifted to a nameless island in the river. Ooh. In one of the riverside apartment buildings, there is a girl who hasn't ventured out of her room for years. With her, wacky hair and in the same old clothes she's worn for years, she looks just like a castaway. Then, one day, she catches sight of a man living alone on an island through her binoculars, and day after day, his lonely but seemingly contented life triggers her curiosity and compels her to step out of her room after so many years. Kim's extraordinary life becomes the inspiration for change in this girl's lonely, detached life. So this is kind of like this little island. I think it's off Yeouido. I could be wrong. But it's really weird. Like, he's on this island, and he has no contact really with the mainland, so to speak, other than the phone calls that he tries to make. And it's a truly really intelligent film, is what I'd say, because it looks at kind of some social issues. It's a comedy as well, and it's a melodrama. Now, Korean melodramas are often criticised for being overly sentimental, cliche, and though I wouldn't exactly label this as a melodrama per se, I think it's problematic to do so because it doesn't give it any justice. But these elements to the movie make it one of the best melodramas that I've seen in years. So you have the kind of the romance it's kind of a romance or relationship, or certainly connection between the main actor and the main actress in the movie. And she's the actress, the female character in the movie, female Kim. She, like I say, she's a little bit wacky, a little bit different, and she's wonderfully played by Jung Yo-won. And Jung Jae-young, who, like I said earlier, he's a big name in Korean cinema, but this performance was just absolutely fantastic. Because this film is kind of uplifting, but it's also quite funny as well, and so he's able to kind of convey a number of different emotions. Okay. So it's definitely worth checking out. In box office sales, though, this film was a bit of a failure, really. He just made around about 700,000 admissions on just under 300 screens. So I personally think that kind of underperformed. The film wasn't a big budget, but given the film's overall quality, it really should have done better. I feel this had a lot down to do with the film's marketing. I thought the film's poster didn't do the film any justice. Just looking at the poster, it just looks a little bit odd.
What's it look like?
It's kind of, I can't really explain it to you, but it's, you got the character in his kind of, washed out clothes and, some funny colours on lots of green, and it's all a bit weird in terms of the way the film's been marketed. It almost looks like, a kind of kids movie. And it's not. It's not at all. So
just by looking at the poster, a lot of people are probably like, I don't want to see this weird movie.
Yeah, it just looks completely wacky, and the film is a little bit kind of eccentric. But I think the way the poster was designed just put people off, including myself. I didn't like the look of the poster, but after watching it, it kind of made me think, well, actually, this movie is actually quite good. And so many films have done that. There's another movie called Couples, which failed a couple of years ago because of the poster. So it's definitely marketing is definitely crucial, especially here in Korea.
Okay.
But it has performed on the international market, won a variety of awards at the Udine and Hawaii film festivals, and it's easy to see why. The film is absolutely superb.
Okay.
So definitely worth checking out. I haven't seen the director's first movie, Like a Virgin, but I think I definitely want to check it out. And
there's no relation to Madonna's song, right?
No.
Okay.
And
is that song on the soundtrack? I was just wondering. Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? And then he's apparently making a film called My Dictator, or 나의 제자, which I don't really know what it's about, but that's currently in the works. So it'd be really interesting to see what he comes out next.
Awesome. Alrighty, with that said, we have to play a song for you guys from the soundtrack, and this is 도마뱀, sung by Kim Si, and this is the tribute to 김씨 표류기. That was from the 김씨 표류기 soundtrack. That was 도마뱀, the tribute to 김씨 표류기, sung by Kim Si, which I think is ironic because his name's Kim Si, and the movie has Kim Shi in the title. So I'm thinking, is there a connection at all? Maybe.
It's a bit odd, like you say. But titles in Korea, that's one of my biggest gripes with Korean movies, is that titles are just sometimes poorly chosen, especially the English titles,
Yeah, because sometimes you'll have a American film or a UK film playing in Korea. It's like one title, and all of a sudden Korean's like 5 syllables longer than the original title. I'm like, what's this even mean? There's no connection.
And also there's often more than one English title, so it can be very confusing.
That is true.
And so I wish they would Yeah, it's difficult. Like they have to market it for kind of different markets, and as a result, like I think Lady Vengeance was one. They had sympathy for Lady Vengeance, and then there's Lady Vengeance, and then there's 친절한 금자씨, which is the Korean title, which means different.
I love that movie.
Like kind English, yeah.
I saw that one. 친절한 금자씨.
It's a good movie, right?
It's a great movie.
Park Chang-wook.
Yes.
Incidentally, his movie Stoker, his new movie Park Chang-wook is the director of Old Boy, Lady Vengeance, I'm a Cyborg, but that's okay. His kind of English debut with Nicole Kidman is premiering at the Sundance Film Festival.
Oh, that movie's coming out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So reviews.
Looking forward to that.
Looking forward to reviews. And of course, Kim Ji-yoon's The Last Stand was released in the States over the weekend.
How's it
starring
doing?
Arne Sweat. Actually bombed in the States.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I'm glad I'm not part of that
Reviews
project,
were
but
not bad, but it just bombed. So Arnold Schwarzenegger does tend to have a big following outside the US, so we'll have to wait and see. But it bombed outside the US, so I mean in the US, so, which is a shame for Kim Ji-yoon. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, in terms of what's out this week, there's a movie called Gift from Room 7.
Okay.
Chubon Bang의 선물, which is being released this week. It's directed by Lee Wang-kyung. He directed Champ, which was released a couple of years ago. Lump Sugar, and Champ failed at the box office, so it'd be interesting to see how well this film does. It stars Yoo Sung-young, who's from everything. He's actually quite a big name in Korean cinema now. His films more recently have done very, very well. Everything About My Wife and Arrow the Ultimate Weapon, or Hwal, both did very well at the box office. Also stars Oh Dal-soo, who's literally in almost everything. He's one of these big supporting actors here in Korea. He's in The Traffickers, The Thieves, amongst others, and also Park Won-sang, who I really like as an actor. He was in two of the best films from last year, National Security and Unbowed. And in terms of the synopsis, it follows a father who's mentally handicapped but loves his daughter very much and is falsely accused of a crime and sent to prison. Later, his daughter, Ye Sung, who is a law student, works to prove his innocence.
Okay.
So we'll have to wait and see how well that does. I haven't seen it yet, so someone I know did see it, but
what they say about the movie?
He wasn't very complimentary. But I have to be honest, I didn't like the trailer. But in terms of other films that are out, there's also The Gangster Shaman, who this movie I did see is also got. And here we go. This has got another English title. It's also called Man on the Edge. Okay. Or Baksugondal is the Korean title. This is doing extremely well in the box office. And I actually went to see it over the weekend, and I was really surprised. I thought it was very, very funny. It kind of surprised me, really, and the audience seemed to be really enjoying it. So I can see why it's doing very, very well. It's kind of a mix between a gangster comedy, and there's also this kind of Hello Ghost thing going on, that movie that stars Cha Tae-yeon. So kind of supernatural aspect. So it's a little bit different and very, very funny. And it stars Park Shin-yang, who he's absolutely terrific in this film. And one of the films he was in was The Big Swindle. So yeah, there's a few films out as well. And so,
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to check it out. I know I need to brush up my K-films, but I've been watching Korean films that much, but I'm going to make sure to watch it because you recommended it.
Yeah, and one film that's coming out next week, or very soon, is Berlin, which is the...
that's a good movie.
Yoo Sung-won movie.
I'm assuming it's a good movie. The poster looks great. The cast is great.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What's that say right now? We got to cut you short because time's running out, but thank you very much for every Tuesday recommending all these great Korean films for our international listeners as well. And right now we're going to play a song, not the movie soundtrack from the movie we talked about today, but one of the actors was in another movie. Yoo Sung-ryong was in this movie, and from the movie 내 안의 모든 것, original soundtrack.
Yeah, Everything About My Wife.
That is true. And this is the song, Embrace-moi. Check it out, y'all. Welcome back. Right now I want to go into the next song, Request. And the next request is from Helen. And from the film that's right now playing in Korea as well, this is Les Miserables. And if you haven't seen this film, I recommend that you go see it, especially if you are a musical lover. Or if you're a fan of Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, and Anne Hathaway, and many, many actors and actresses in this film. It's a very, very great musical film that I recommend to all you listeners out there. So this is requested by Helen. This is Anne Hathaway singing such a beautiful song.
There was a time
I Dream a Dream. Check it out, y'all.
different from this hell I'm living, so never know.
Well, don't live that life. That's my response to Anne Hathaway. Anyways, that was Anne Hathaway singing I Dream a Dream from the Les Mis soundtrack. And right now it's time to wrap up the show. I know it's really short, but stick around because 113 Main Street with An Jung-hyun next. The beautiful An Jung-hyun is getting ready for her show. But before I go, I'm going to play the next song for you guys. It's the last song of the hour. I know. You want me to stay for another hour? But too bad! Anyways, this is one of the best Quentin Tarantino films out there right now that I recommend for you guys. And it's about Uma Thurman. Plays a character named Beatrix Kiddo, who Bill calls Kid in the movie, of course. It's a great film. I don't want to give you any more, details about it. I'm just going to give you names. That's it. Well, here's The Lonely Shepherd by Zamfir from the Kill Bill original soundtrack. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Musical Wednesday. Peace!